Hello and welcome to your daily dose of Satoshi's news. Today's day is Sunday, the 22nd of December 2024, the year of 1,000,000 transactions per second and more. Experience the best of both worlds today at betbitcoinsv.com, the best casino and sports betting on chain. Have a little fudge in private using the original protocol and genuine Bitcoin. Right, let's see what we got today. Bitfinex has said here, El Salvador's Bitcoin project shelved for $. Oh dear, it's an epic fail. So we'll read that and then talk about it. Got a post here from CSW, ripping into what's happened to him, as you would do. That looks really good. A little bit, 365 days of Bitcoin history. El Salvador makes a Bitcoin payments voluntary and $1.4 billion IMF loan deal. We've got blockchain and IPv6 to form the backbone of Web3 internet. And then that'll be the end of the show. Right, let's get into it.
Satoshi, like a cowboy in the West, riding on the blockchain that they call the very best. 1,000,000 strong, and transactions flying free. Just wait for the Terra node, you'll surely see.
Here we go. So Bitfinex has said here, El Salvador Bitcoin project shelved for the $. Epic fail. So in this post, it said, digital assets, the potential risk of the Bitcoin project will be diminished significantly in line with the fund policies. Legal reforms will make acceptance of the Bitcoin by the private sector voluntary. For the public sector, engagement in Bitcoin related economic activities and transactions and purchases of Bitcoin will be confined. Taxes will only be paid in US dollars as they want, and the government's participation in the crypto e-wallet Chivo will be gradually unwound. Transparency, regulation and supervision of digital assets will be enhanced to safeguard financial stability, consumer and investor protection and financial integrity. Alright, let's go through and unpack that then. So the potential risk of the Bitcoin project will be diminished significantly in line with fund policies. Okay, so reduction of the use of it, they're saying, will diminish the risk in line with fund policy. So maybe they're doing this because they're getting funding from the US. Legal reforms will make acceptance of Bitcoin by the private sector voluntary. Okay, so private sector is not bound by it at all. For the public sector, engagement in Bitcoin related economic activities and transactions in and purchases of Bitcoin will be confined, so limited in other words. They're going to be restricted basically in the public sector. Taxes will only be paid in US dollars. Again, that's what the cabal really want. And the government's participation in the crypto e-wallet Chivo will be gradually unwound. So they're not really using it. Transparency, regulation and supervision of digital assets will be enhanced to safeguard financial stability. So in other words, they're shitting themselves about BTC here. Consumer and investor protection and financial integrity. It sounds to me like they're anticipating BTC coming down. That's what it sounds like to me. Whoa, that's massive. That means they're massively losing confidence in BTC. I wonder how many other people are actually going to see that and understand the significance of what that means. That is massive. That's massive. Let's see what Jacob King said in response to that. No, but they said they are still going to buy Bitcoin, bro. FUD. US dollar is actually going to be Bitcoin soon because strategic reserves, but buy. Yeah, that's a really telling statement actually there. Yeah. Shelved for the US dollar. Dare I say, never saw that coming. Good grief. Right, let's get a post here from CSW. So he says, so here we are again. So this is in response to Jono Lee saying we've just crossed 20,000 reachable nodes on the Bitcoin network. Amazing milestone. If you don't run a node yet, please consider doing so. Again, like, nodes are economically competitive to one another. Nodes create blocks, as Craig said, or Satoshi Nakamoto said. All these things do is have a flashing red light on them. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So he said, here we go again. Another desperate tweet, another pile of rubbish. Passed off as truth. 2,000 reachable nodes, ? What a joke. Let's be clear, a node creates blocks. That's it. That's the definition. If it's not creating blocks, it's not a node. It's a glorified leech, a useless bystander sucking resources and pretending to be important. Out of these supposed 20,000, how many actually create blocks? I doubt very many. 15 miners doing the actual work, securing the network, processing transactions. The rest, question mark, they're dead weight. An illusion to the fool, the masses, into thinking this network is more than it is. A reachable node is about as useful as a scarecrow in a hurricane. It's there for show but not substance. And this nonsense about protecting the network, spare me. These parasites don't protect anything. They're not securing blocks, they're not processing transactions, and they sure as hell aren't contributing to scaling. The real work is done by the miners, those 15 nodes who put their money where their mouths are, competing and risking capital. This lie about 20,000 nodes is a desperate attempt to cling to relevance, to sell the idea of a decentralization as if it means anything when all the powers lie in the hands of the miners. And you know what? That's how it's supposed to work. A competitive system driven by those who build, those who invest, those who produce, not those who sit around running software for a false sense of importance. So go ahead, pat yourself on the back for your amazing milestone, but the truth is it's a halo number, a mirage. The real network, the real system, runs on the back of 15 miners, not your vanity metrics, and deep down you know it. Or they do know it, but they're lying on purpose, because that's what these people do. So he's also said here, imagine the sheer unrelenting shame of it, being beaten so thoroughly, so completely by me. Me, Craig Wright, you spent years preaching your gospel of can't scale, of impossible, and here I am, tearing your lives apart piece by piece, brick by brick, and doing the very thing you swore couldn't be done. Yep, very good point. Not scaling BTC, your so-called crown jewel, reduced to a broken toy. Failing utterly and miserably with Lightning, your patchwork scam of a solution. A house of cards that can't handle the slightest breeze, let alone the storm of real-world demand. It's laughable, pathetic even. A monument to your incompetence, crumbling under the weight of its own delusions. I'd say it's not incompetence, their nefarious ability to try and... They try and destroy everything. That's what these people do. They don't want anything that they don't own and control themselves. And then there's me, not just proving you wrong, but obliterating every excuse, every myth, every lie you've spun, scaling where you've failed, building what you couldn't, while you cling to your hollow ideas and make-believe narratives. I'm out here doing the work, showing the world what Bitcoin was always meant to be, what it still can be, despite your pathetic attempts to derail it. That's what they've been trying to do. You thought you could rewrite the history, twist the truth, erase me from history, but here I am, here I stand, scaling to levels you couldn't even comprehend. Do what you said was impossible, and making your every effort look like a desperate flailing of failed magician caught in his own tricks. Yeah, that's good. Flailings of a failed magician caught in his own tricks. So sit there in the ashes of your failures. Watch as I take the system you broke and rebuild it, stronger and better than you ever could. Imagine that shame, feel it, because it's yours, all yours. Yeah. Well, let's just hope we live to see the day, because, you know, at the end of the day, it's the total package that counts. It's not just the scaling and the utility. You know, it's the miners realizing and the world using it, and this thing reaching its full potential, which at the end of the day, and again, you know, I won't bang on about price just yet, because price is the last metric to move. Therefore, it's the least of all metric that matters, but it still does matter. It's just the least of them that matters, because price will follow everything else. But let's hope that it fulfills its potential. $40 million per coin. That's what I'm estimating at, and then onwards, you know. Let's make sure that those worshippers of Satan are exposed and cast into the lake of fire, as they say, for eternity, as the Book of Revelation states they will be. That's what we really need, because just like they said about the scam jibby jabby, you know. No one's safe until everyone's safe, and no one is safe until this lot are gone for good. Is all I can say to that one. 22nd of December, so in 2007. Oh, wow! So this is 2007. Yeah, remember the white paper was released on the 31st of October 2008, and this is 22nd of December 2007. He said, next year, Dave, we come out with something big, I would tell you, but not now. That's what CSW wrote to David Kleiman. Got a link here. Oh yeah, in the Satoshi affair. Brilliant. Brilliant. Let's see what we got here. I wonder where I got that from. So this is an epic story. I have actually read all of this. This is where I actually got in contact with Stephen Matthews. I think I did the first interview. Introduced him to the social side of the community. This is epic. If you haven't read this is literally epic. It's got Craig literally going back into the building, hiding in the toilets, like literally jumping on the toilet seat, like they do in the James Bond movies. It was epic. It's a brilliant story. Any more images in there? No. Let's see if I can just find the date where I actually did my interview with Stefan, because I think I published it on the same day actually. Let me just see if I can go back and find the date of that one. If anybody hasn't listened to it, epic interview is what it is. Oh, there we go, got it.
As you know,
what date was this? The 25th of May 2021. Wow, awesome. On the 22nd of December 2017, we've got here somebody saying get out of Bitcoin now. That was by this tweet here. Is it still there? My friend posted this on his Facebook telling us to get out on December 22nd, 2017. The price of Bitcoin was $12,874. I saw this as the future. I woke up today and the price was $61,000. Grateful it didn't sell. Yeah, that's just all about hodl for BTCers. 22nd of December 2017, Bitcoin and almost every other cryptocurrency crashed hard today. It looks like we've got some articles here. TechCrunch here just going on because people really didn't understand what on earth was going on with the market. Because I mean, we know now because it was purely speculative. Oh, look at this tomorrow, the anniversary of the Federal Reserve Act being signed into law. That was 23rd of December 1913, and we know that this all relates to Bitcoin now. Yes, indeed, it does. Right, let's get into El Salvador. So El Salvador makes a Bitcoin payment voluntary in $1.4 billion IMF loan deal. El Salvador struck a loan deal with the IMF in which it will make that's BTC acceptance voluntary and roll back government involvement in BTC related projects, similar to what we've just read. El Salvador is set to make merchant acceptance of Bitcoin voluntary, unwind its involvement in its little-used Shivo wallet, and make public sector engagement in Gregcoin, Bitcoin-related economic activity confined as part of a $1.4 billion loan deal with the International Monetary Fund. They've been paid. They've been paid to wind it down. No way. That's a bribe. That is a bribe. That's why they're doing it. But it's shit anyway. And again, I wonder if they're doing that because they know that it's a massive Ponzi scheme. Can you imagine if the bubble bursts, El Salvador literally goes bust because you've got a whole country here, and then you find out that it's the very people that's giving you a loan that's behind the Ponzi scheme. I wonder if that's what it basically bribed to shut them up. The Central American nation will get $1.4 billion of IMF over the next 40 months after agreeing to measures aimed at dropping its debt-to-GDP ratio, the global lender said in a December 18 statement. So they're paying El Salvador to wind it down, and yet they're still encouraging Donald Trump to go all in. What's going on there? The potential risk of the BTC project will be diminished significantly in line with fund policies. Legal reforms will make acceptance of a Gregcoin by the private sector voluntary, the IMF said. For the public sector engagement in Greycoin related economic activities and transactions in the purchase of Greycoin will be confined. IMF also said taxes will be paid in US dollars because that's what they want, the country's official currency. No way, so the US dollar is the country's official currency. How corrupt is that? You've got a country that doesn't actually have its own currency, using the US dollar, literally just at its behest. Good grief. I mean, every country should have its own currency, you know. The government involvement in the state-backed crypto wallet Chivo will be gradually unwound. El Salvador began buying the Greycoin in 2021, with the country's national Bitcoin officer tracker showing it currently holds 5,968.8 Greycoin worth around $602 million. A national Greycoin office spokesperson told Cointelegraph that the country, quotes here, will keep accumulating Greycoin. We will keep buying one Greycoin a day, likely even more in the future, and we will not sell any of our current holdings, said the spokesperson, who added, the plans for the Greycoin office remain the same as Greycoin continues to be our main strategy. The agreement still needs the IMF executives board's approval. No way, so they're beholden to the US, or the IMF at least. But it marks the end of 4 years of negotiations that featured President Nayib Bukele adoptions of Greycoin as a legal tender in September 2021, making it the first country in the world to do so. What's this here? Post from IMF saying the IMF and El Salvador government have reached a staff-level agreement with a 40-month EFF arrangement to support the government's economic reforms. The agreement with El Salvador is subject to approval by the IMF Executive Board. See, I wonder how much they've got. Well, they'll have total control over the country eventually, but they're not actually running things. But they've got a puppet in there. The IMF has long called on Bukele to drop its Greycoin plans, saying the speculative nature of the cryptocurrency could put the country at risk. The agreement will also see additional loans from other global banks, including the World Bank, for a total financing deal of over $3.5 billion. Bribe. Honestly, and where'd they get $3.5 billion from? Printed it from nothing like Tether. That's what they've done. In relation to the IMF's announcement, Bukele's Greycoin advisor, Max Geyser advising him, said on X of the IMF that nobody pays attention to these arseholes and called the agreement bureaucratic, meaningless nonsense. That's a Greycoin use in El Salvador was always voluntary, and its usage has never been higher and continued to grow, Kaiser said in another X post. The IMF's point is a DAO, dead on arrival. However, an October survey of El Salvadorians found that 92% don't make transactions using Greycoin. An increase from 2023 survey found that 88% didn't use Greycoin for transactions because they can't. It's absolutely useless. And we know it. Okay, what's this? Synthetics launches multi-collateral perps on base amid revamp. Just utter shitcoining. It's disgusting when you actually know the truth. Alright, this post here from BSV blockchain and IPv6 to form the backbone of the Web3 internet. While a Web3 internet offers a promising future, it is not a standard and needs to be built on actual technology such as IPv6 and blockchain. This is the view of Ralph Wallace, CEO of Cyber Spatial, who was speaking at the sidelines of the recent London Blockchain Conference. Wallace explained that he had been involved in IPv6 space for almost a decade at the US International Revenue Service. He explained that the US government has a mandate in place for all federal agencies to transition to IPv6. During that time, I was very successful with transitioning the IRS infrastructure for 90,000 workstations and 40,000 servers across 512 sites in the United States, the IRS, and getting them to IPv6. And so before I retired from the federal service, I was invited to join the executive committee for the federal IPv6 task force. During that time on the executive committee, I helped form the latest memo that's in place for the US government to get into IPv6 by 2025. IPv6 is necessary, but adoption is slow. When the internet was first adopted, IPv4 was the standard used to assign addresses to connected devices. IPv4, the fourth version of the Internet Protocol, was standardized in 1981 and used a 32-bit address space, supporting approximately 4.3 billion unique addresses. Initially, this seemed sufficient, but the rapid expansion of the Internet and the proliferation of connected devices soon highlighted its limitations. To address this, the Internet Engineering Task Force introduced IPv6 in 1998, featuring 128-bit address space to accommodate an almost infinite number of devices, especially with the rise of the Internet of Things. IPv6's capability for end-to-end network is essential for leveraging the efficiencies and capabilities of an expansive blockchain protocol like the BSV blockchain. Wallace explained that the role of the IPv6 forum is to establish collaboration between private organizations, academia, vendors, and other parties to help establish the transition to IPv6. Web3 is a great concept, but it's not a standard. There are other standards like semantic web, which is Web 2, trying to define amorphous things is sometimes difficult for a technology perspective, so IPv6 is there and it works fine. IPv6 and the BSV blockchain. Wallace explained that IPv6 is also necessary to get to the full benefits of blockchain. You've got to use the network to get to the components of blockchain. So if you're talking about getting to the components and you're using IPv6 internet to do it, then that's the best way to do it. You can use it to verify that packets are getting to the right people at the right time. Despite IPv6's clear advantages, its adoption has been slow due to the significant infrastructure changes required. The BSV blockchain stands out as the only public blockchain scalable enough to meet the demands of enterprise-scale applications. It is designed to function as an internet extension, enabling peer-to-peer payments, complex data transfers without intermediaries. Oh, what a fantastic article that was. Loving that, loving that. There we go. Right, that's a 20-minute show. Hope you enjoyed it. So as ever, if you enjoy these updates, please ding your donations for your appreciation to either satoshi@sendme.com, handcash.io, simply.cash, relays.com, rockwallet.me or senti.ch. We'll leave it there. Hope you enjoyed it. As ever, be aware, take care, stay safe out there, and we'll see you in the next one.